And I'm just embarrassed because I chose this person to marry.
That's the problem. Just she forced me. Just if I don't want something, just this is the one like control,
Yeah, Ari and Bini really haven't been doing well since being reunited. In fact, if anything, it feels like they're being pushed further and further apart. There's so much resentment and anger that's only getting worse with each challenge that they fail. But Ari and Bini aren't the only ones with emotions running high.
Take it from me.
Stay.
I want to be free. I want to be free.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Okay, so I have to ask, like Florian, what is going on with Stacey? Has she reached her breaking point? And if so, what was it that finally pushed her to the edge? Well, before we get into that, let's kick off proceedings with Ari and Bini. So their last resort journey got off to a very rocky start last week. We learned they live apart, they live in separate countries, and when reunited, they didn't hug and she ended up kicking him out of their room. So it makes sense that the therapist wants to see them as soon as possible. And when given the floor to speak, when asked what they want to speak about, Bini immediately brings up what seems to be the most important thing for him.
The main thing, just I need my rights like open. I want my social media. That's the beginning for me, like for step.
He's fixated on getting his passwords back. That seems to be far more important for him than fixing their marriage. Is that the real reason why he's here? Is that why he's at the last resort, to get back his damn social media accounts? Is he really committed to trying to save their marriage? Because right now it doesn't really seem like he is. And for her part, Ari also isn't budging.
I changed all his passwords. I was just angry with him, and I was sort of getting back at him. Maybe it was a little vindictive, but I don't regret it because I was so pissed off.
No, sorry Ari, using anger to justify your actions isn't a good look. It's not an excuse for what she did. Like saying I was angry so it's okay doesn't fly with anyone. Now, Bini says that the passwords are part of a bigger ploy by Ari. She's constantly after control, he says. She's using the passwords as leverage. She's trying to blackmail me with them to get me to fall into line, he claims. And while you can clearly sense his frustration, he's clearly got a point. The therapist tries to remind them both that there's meant to be a bigger picture here.
If you both said last night, I want to be in this marriage, but your actions and the way you talk to each other doesn't say that.
Exactly.
Now, do I think that they can make this marriage work? Can they fix their issues? Well, no, I don't. But the fact is, even if they can't, they both need to let this anger go for the sake of their child. Like, the one who's going to be hurt the most if these two end up constantly trying to one-up each other is poor innocent little Avi. So with him in mind, hopefully, the therapy might make them see sense. And the first group therapy session of the day involves going on a hike and writing their marital issues on a rock. The aim is to discuss the issue and come to a compromise. So what is it that Bini writes? Well, he asks for respect. And as for Ari, well, she wants affection. But it becomes pretty clear right off the bat that getting affection from Bini is gonna be a tough ask.
Life.
Oh,
Huh?
hey, they like
Come on,
that.
please.
Like they're just playing and joking around.
No,
Will you do that for me?
No, just I'm tired. Just.
Seeing the couple that they're paired with, Stacey and Florian, be lovey-dovey at least for the time being, and we'll come back to that in a second.
I want to be free!
But seeing them affectionate and playful makes Ari want the same thing for her and her husband. But the problem is, that's not really the kind of thing that you can fake, is it? Like, forced playfulness isn't going to have the same effect as spontaneous playfulness. Either way, with continuous badgering, eventually Bini gives in. Only whatever it was that Ari was hoping to get out of this, it doesn't quite transpire as she was hoping for.
I weigh like 50 kilos. You can handle. I'm sideways. If you're sideways, that's fine.
No, get down. The stone spoke me.
No sooner does she get on his back than Bini demands that she gets off. He claims the stone, ironically the affection stone, is poking him in the back. And when Ari attempts to fix the position, he just doesn't want anything more to do with it. Like, there are quite a lot of parallels here between the piggyback and their relationship problems. I mean, Bini didn't want to do it in the first place. He made it very clear, and yet Ari was determined to exert control. But with Bini now no longer willing to play ball, it's left Ari in tears.
And I'm just embarrassed because I chose this person to marry.
That's the problem. Just she forced me. Just if I don't want something, just this is the one like control.
Yeah, if the aim of this exercise was to find a compromise, it really hasn't worked. They seem incapable of seeing things from the other person's perspective. All Ari wanted was to feel a little bit closer to her husband. A little bit of touch, a little bit of affection, just a bit of fun. But what Bini can't get past is how Ari is dictating that to him. She wants it on her terms, whether or not he's game. So how are they going to get past these issues? Is there a way that they can get past them? Well, later on in the afternoon, as tensions have cooled down, the pair finally sit down to have a long overdue conversation.
Tell me how I can do something today to give you some respect.
The only thing, just like talk to me just low, your voice low. Just talk to me just like now where you talk to me.
All I want, says Biniyam, is for you to show me some respect and speak nicely to me. It's not a lot to ask, and it seems to be working. Ari agrees to try, and just the act of asking him what he wanted has brought them closer together. Like, they're sitting right next to each other, they're touching each other. This is the authentic, not forced, connection that Ari was begging for. But Ari still isn't satisfied. You see, when the time comes to let go of the rock, she instead chooses to hold on to hers. She doesn't feel like there was enough affection. In fact, she goes back to a challenge they had where the aim was to maintain eye contact for 30 seconds. The fact that they failed at that, even despite the fact that they're now much closer than ever before, has blinded her vision. It's sad. It's sad that she can't see the progress they were making. She's choosing instead to focus on the negatives.
You looked at me for less than 30 seconds and you said, I'm done. It's not affection. None of what you did today is affection. I don't have hope in this moment.
Sadly, with an attitude like that, I'm not holding my breath either. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, one couple who both say they are in this to change, they do want to fix things, are Florian and Stacey. Or, hold on, wait a minute, is it Stacey or is it Darcy?
So, is the one girl Stacey or is she Darcy?
I don't know. You should probably look up who Florian's married to.
Oh, hold on, I'll double check that.
Don't worry, Rob. We all make that mistake. Now, of course, it is Stacey, and the retreat did start out really rough for her last week. Remember, she accused her husband of not only being cold to her, but also cheating on her. But today is a new day, and with a new day comes new hope. And from the sounds of things, both of them are ready and keen to move on.
Not gonna harp on yesterday, I'm in a good mood. I let it go. Just please be nice to me. Be nice.
Being nice to each other is the least that you should expect from your partner. Now, Florian promises he'll try, and I have to admit, to his credit, for the rest of the day, he really does seem to be making an effort. Their hike goes well, probably the best of the bunch. And while you might not look at her and immediately think she's the outdoorsy type, Stacey reveals that she loves hiking. It's something that she and Darcy used to do often as kids, even if it didn't always go to plan.
Darcy and I got lost in the wilderness once in high school. We were missing for like 12 hours. Our dad had to call the rescue, but we found our way out.
Maybe someone else should be in charge of navigation then. Just look at Florian. He isn't exactly filled with confidence after that story, is he? Now, as we saw earlier, well, they are both in the mood to have some fun, have a piggyback, have a laugh and a joke. The truth is, it isn't all fun and games. Ultimately, they're here for a reason. They're plagued with a ton of trust issues in their marriage.
Since the cheating scandal, it was something that was very hard and still is very hard to forget.
I don't want to have to worry about you.
Stacey explains that she does want to move on. She does want to start trusting him again. She wants to get back to where they were in their relationship before he cheated on her. I'd love nothing more than to grow old with you, she says. But just wanting that isn't enough. For that to happen, they both need to work on it.
Days for us come here to work together in this. You don't need to cry, please. Enough.
I need help. I need help to figure out
Give it to me.
how to trust you.
Now, as much as his voice's tone isn't exactly super compassionate, I get the feeling that that's just how Florian speaks. He seems genuine enough, like he says all the right things. He tells her he's gonna win her trust back. He'll do whatever it takes, he says. And then he asks to take that rock from her, the symbolic rock. But Stacey's reaction to that definitely isn't what he was expecting.
Take it from me.
Stay.
I want to be free. I want to be free.
What the hell's wrong?
Poor Florian looks like he's ready to run for the hills. He has no clue what he said that could possibly elicit that kind of reaction from Stacey. Why are you crying so much, he asks. Well, as it turns out, that rock clearly did have a lot of symbolism. Like, the act of handing it back to him was the release of tension that she's needed for a very long time. She'd been carrying that for years now, and the relief of finally letting it go was just too much for her. It was that relief that caused her to cry.
I need a hug.
I can give you a hug 10 times. Let's stay.
Look, for as dramatic as Stacey can be, she is actually really sweet. I also like the fact that Florian is giving her the care that she's asking for. Hopefully this moment is what they need. Hopefully this can be the turning point in their marriage. Now, Florian promises her he will make changes to his lifestyle. He's not going to go out partying as much, he says. And with Stacey also reciprocating that, with her promising that she will listen to him more, the pair are finally ready to let their rocks go. It's been a very meaningful exercise for them. Let's just hope that can last.
We had a moment. We had a beautiful moment. And I felt our relationship growing closer together in that moment. Like, we were bonding again. And I'll never forget that moment.